Hey guys, welcome to the third episode of Put It in Perspective, where we uh, discuss hot takes and new life experiences. I'm Vignesh, and I'm joined by my two lovely co-hosts.
Hello, I'm Sneha.
Hi, I'm Swada.
And we're here to
But
It
In Perspective. Great, guys. We're joined by a lovely, lovely guest. And why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Shaima. I'm soon to be 18 and I'm going to ASU this coming fall for electrical engineering.
Awesome, great. Is there anything you plan to do over the summer, Shayma?
Oh yeah, I've been wanting to learn how to do Python, so that's definitely something that I have on my list, especially going into electrical. So that's something that I plan to do over the summer.
Cool, cool. Unfortunately, we can't dive into that this podcast episode, but we wish you the best of luck. Isn't that right, guys?
yes, I'm
Yes.
going to
Okay,
talk more.
great.
Okay.
So we're gonna dive into some hot takes, something that everyone's been waiting for. Okay, which one of you guys wants to go first?
did I
Yeah,
start this time?
Yeah.
Okay. Um. All right. So my hot take is that in world of girls' clothing nowadays, things have taken a turn for the worse. In that the sense that I feel like it's like everything is like cropped nowadays, or like most things. So now it's hard to find good clothes that aren't cropped. Like basically, it's hard to find good clothes in the world of girls' clothes. So the thing is, I'm going with this hot take because Shayma can attest to this. Because we were actually at a mall together on Sunday with a few other friends, and we hit up a bunch of different stores. And like the one trend we kept noticing and pointing out is that a lot of the clothes we saw, it's like either half of it was like missing, or like there's just something with it, right? So yeah, I feel like I'm gonna elaborate here a bit, I guess, but it's not like it's impossible to find like good clothes, or like like a full length, nice, like full coverage shirt or anything. But it's definitely harder than it used to be, like in the past, and like especially like in the last few years. And like I know this is kind of just like a result of like trends and like what people want in fashion, and like how nowadays is kind of like a style that like for a lot of girls like prefer to like, or not prefer, but like they just do like wear like cropped clothes or like stuff along those lines. But then that kind of like makes it harder for everyone else who like doesn't want to follow those like fashion trends and stuff, for whatever reason, right? So it girls shopping for girls clothes has gotten harder, I'd say.
Mhm. Okay. I feel like Vignesh looks so confused. Like,
No, I'm just like I'm not gonna add anything to this one, guys, because I
yeah.
because I don't want to look like I'm shopping for girl clothes. But you guys got this. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, I would agree. Like, that's not totally my style, but like, I don't know. I went shopping with one person, and that's like cropped shirts and like what's like fully aligned with the current trend is like fully her style. And so like
Your cousin?
she didn't like what?
Your cousin?
No, not my cousin.
Oh,
Someone
okay.
else. Yeah,
Oh,
I have
okay.
friends. Just kidding.
No, no. I was just like, I was getting this. My intuition was telling me. Okay, sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Um no, but like she couldn't walk like two steps without like running to an item of clothing and be like, "Oh my god, that's so cute! I need this right now." And I'm like I don't know. Either like I'm more picky with clothing, or that's just not my style. I don't know. But I definitely agree that like in those mainstream stores, that's what we see more often. But also, I think I don't know. I'm not too sure. I think crop clothing and stuff like that is like not going out of style, but there's alternatives now. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Uh,
Yeah, I do have an opinion against crop clothing, but that's like I think my opinion of that comes more from a cultural and religious standpoint. In the sense that like I prefer modesty. I have a phrase, modesty is the best policy. So I don't know. I prefer crop, or I don't prefer crop clothing because it it doesn't I don't know, it's just not modest, right? But I think like full coverage clothing itself is a lot more comfortable in the sense of like you can like there's a lot more leeway in just how you can move. Not maybe like in like what's the word? Not maneuverability. Is it maneuverability? I don't know. I think like in the sense of like I say that in the sense of like if you wear crop clothing, like really short shorts, or just like maybe less of like crops themselves. I always have like the fear of what if something gets exposed. Like that's always going to be at the back of my mind. But I also say that like with the bias that I've always worn like full covered clothing for like my full life. So I'm just not used to that sort of attire, I guess. But yeah, like I speak with more of a religious standpoint in the sense that modesty is the best policy.
Yeah. Have you found like places to shop that like allow for that, or do you like struggle to find those types of places in malls?
Yeah.
Do you have like default go to in the mall?
I don't even go to the mall that much. Honestly, my mom just brings clothes and they sort of just spawn out of nowhere, and then I just put the clothes that she brings me. But like I've noticed at the malls, like I guess like in America too, I guess like the prices of clothing has really skyrocketed. And it's sort of weird because like we were at the mall the other day, like Swada said, and we were comparing two different clothings, and this is like a common trend we see everywhere. But like a cropped piece of clothing is gonna go for a higher price than just like the full size of that cloth itself. So it's like I don't know, that sort of difference is kind of interesting to me. But there are still like full covered, like full modest covering clothing, like out there. It's just and like that's what I do aspire to get. Aspire is a crazy word, but that's what I do try to get. But I mean, there's still a lot of like more, like you can tell that the fashion industry is leaning towards that cropped end.
Yeah.
No, because like I feel like kind of like from that experience, like on Sunday, but like also just like in general, in like a lot of stores, if you walk in and then you go into like the girls like clothes section, it's like at least like 90% of what you see is going to be like cropped and stuff, or like less covered in some kind of way, like not even cropped, just like the overall style, like either it's like a tank top or like sleeve, like something like that. And like I'm not saying I have anything like against like, okay, because honestly we live in a really hot climate. It's like tank tops, that's like its own thing. You need to wear that because it's like really hot, that's fine I guess. But like just also like in like the style trend sense, like if you want to wear that kind of clothing, I mean, okay, that's your style, go for it I guess. But then it just like overall in general, I feel like it isn't as accommodating to like the entire like population. And like okay, I have to confess, I own like crop tops because like they could be considered crop because it's like shorter length than like most shirts, but then I don't wear them with the intention of like kind of like that crop top style to like have like that exposure, I guess. Like I just wear that because I like it, and it's long enough that like nothing gets exposed and stuff, so like, you know, it kind of works out. But then like just like in general, it's so hard to like find good clothes. It's like you find a shirt that you like, but then it turns out it's cropped, so then it's like, okay, so I can't really get this because it's like it's too exposing and stuff. So I just feel like it's harder to shop for good clothes these days. That's kind of like what it's turned into. For like people that don't have that mainstream style that like these stores are trying to cater to.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little bit difficult in this case, in our conversation, because I think we all have similar. We're all leaning toward the same clothing or fashion sense, so there's no one on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, as someone who wears crop tops, I would disagree with all of you guys right now. So yeah, like this is like really offending, and I can't believe you're attacking my culture and the way I dress. So yeah, yes.
Sorry.
My bad.
You want to expand on that culture?
On my culture of wearing crop tops every day. Let me think about it. You guys go on.
I guess okay, I can try to argue for the other side and pretend I'm like one of those crop top wearing girlies.
Yeah.
I think that like, you know, if you I shouldn't do a voice, that's my bad, sorry guys. Like
is this cultural
like,
appropriation?
Oh my god. But I guess like one could argue that even though most things are like cropped and stuff, either it's like suck it up and get with the style. Like a person could argue that hypothetically, or then also they could just say just like whatever you find, go with that. But then my counterpoint to that would be that like it just kind of it's our choices get limited in that case. So it's not fun. I think we need to go back to like having clothes that aren't missing half of their fabric. Thank you.
Like if I look at the other side, I'm thinking, well, a lot of people wear cropped clothing nowadays or like revealing clothing. Like I guess I could think of a couple reasons. Well, number one, like Sneha said earlier, we live in a hotter climate, so that's one thing. So maybe I don't think about it. Yeah, it could be like a contributing factor could be the weather. But I think also like the fashion industry has also leaned more towards that revealing sense. Maybe because like we see celebrities also wear a lot of revealing clothing themselves. So I heard somewhere, and I know this is something that we do. I just don't have any like backing to prove it or like to support it. We also like mimic celebrities and what they wear. It's something that I heard, so that we take that with a grain of salt, I guess. But yeah, celebrities also like wear a lot of revealing clothing, like whether it's like towards just like what do you call them, like concerts? Blanked on the word concerts, or just like in galas themselves. I guess the idea is to be like really like outstanding. So yeah, the revealing sense is really out there as well. But that's sort of just like a small speck of it, I think, of like wearing revealing clothing or cropped clothing in that sense.
Yeah, I don't know if I have that much to add. I have some final thoughts.
I feel like I was gonna say something, but I forgot.
Oh,
Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Sneha, if you have something.
No, if you guys have like,
I don't remember.
I don't know. Yeah, but I would agree with everything that everyone said. I think it's definitely like a cultural factor. Like in the Western world, this is the norm, but like I know like some of the items of clothing that I have, like I don't necessarily think I would wear them in India, for example. I don't know. So yeah, I would say there are definitely options for us, but it's definitely more limited.
Yeah. Okay, I guess like the one thing I will add, I feel like it goes beyond just like cropped shirts, but then also just like other clothing too. There are options that are like other than like revealing, and like other clothes too, like pants, jeans, shorts, shirts, dresses, stuff like that. But then also like kind of like the same thing with shirts. It's just like a lot more of it has become like it's like there's like always like something with it that's just like kind of revealing. Like that's just kind of like the way like clothes have shifted, and I don't think that's great because it limits other people's choices. It's like it's not just the shirts; it's like the dresses and like shorts and pants too.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's like the individual's choice to wear what they want. So, yeah, it's definitely up to them. And I guess I can't really see the other side entirely always. So definitely gonna have missing holes in my arguments. Missing holes.
I like holes in your clothes. Okay.
Missing holes means that there's more holes that are filled than not. That means so the picture is more complete that way.
I'm definitely gonna have holes in my clothes, but just argument. But yeah.
Okay.
You guys ready to move on?
Yeah.
Okay. Final thoughts before you guys move on.
I already said my final thoughts.
Swada, give your final thoughts.
Society sucks. Fake soul clothing. No, I'm kidding. I think just to like sum it all up, we need to make some changes in mainstream girls' clothing and fashion.
Okay. All right. You guys ready to move on?
Mhm.
Okay. Want to go next, Neha?
Yes.
Okay.
So my hot take for today is ending morning supremacy because yeah, I just think not everyone is like biologically wired to wake up and thrive in the morning. I'm not targeting anyone, but I'm just saying.
Me after I woke up late to this podcast episode.
Because I don't know, there's like evolutionary reasons behind this too, because I was doing my senior project and I read something like 30% of our current population is like biologically wired to be night owls, because obviously you need a certain group of the population to be like awake during the night, or like in hunter-gathering societies they needed that proportion to be awake during the night, so then they could like keep an eye out while the rest of the people were sleeping. So this is all to say I think there's like an evolutionary reason why some people are night owls and some people are morning people, early birds. So yeah, I just think especially for like creativity people, like artists, musicians, a lot of them, their creativity peaks at night. And also I would say like just in general, like your life demands don't end at like 10 p.m. For a lot of people, like caregivers and like single parents, they have to come back home from a whole day of work, and they have to stay up all night to like prepare things for the next day for their family. And like shift workers, and people who just have like irregular working schedules, they will have obligations that they have to attend to like in the morning, because that's when everyone's awake, but then they might have done like a whole night shift or something. So I don't know, I think the thing of everyone should be awake in the morning and like work 9 to 5 is like an arbitrary tradition. And I think it's something that came about during the Industrial Revolution, you know? Like the fact that the whole concept of 9 to 5, but now like a lot of our economy is becoming more digital and there is room for flexibility. So I think that should be shifted. Or I'm not necessarily a night owl, but I'm just saying I see some people who are. Yes. Immediate thoughts, anyone?
Right.
Like,
Agree.
As a person who woke up late today,
As a
well,
person who didn't woke up late today, I will. Okay. So first of all, I do agree with your premise, right? That not everyone is a night owl. Some people are early birds, etc. But I think the way that the way we use technology, has kind of skewed that number to more people being night owls due to technology just naturally being able to change our circadian rhythms, etc., before we go to sleep. So I think before you make the conclusion you're a night owl or early bird, you need to have a appropriate, large enough sample size that you give to yourself. Because what I see more often than not is that people just find out they're comfortable during the night. They call themselves night owls, and they don't even try to wake up early in the morning for a bit and see what that's like. So yes.
yeah. Um, I don't know. I think technology definitely complicates things because, no, yeah, exactly what you said, actually. I think like some people, they're doing this to their sleep schedule, even though they might not be biologically wired to be that way. Which I know this is like not like a largely implementable thing, because like obviously like our world runs during the day, but I'm just saying like maybe just like on a small scale basis, like companies can do more if possible, if their hours are flexible, to like accommodate different people's sleep schedules and preferences.
I know like one of the major like okay, I think I work best like in the late night, but only in the sense of if I get past. I think we talked about this in sometime in the past too. Like I only work best after I get in the late night after I get past like a certain time frame where I'm super sleepy at night, and then after I get past that time frame, like around 10 to 11, like if it's 1 a.m., then like if I make it to 1 a.m., then I like work really well. But it's just like 10 a.m. or 10 a.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m. thing. I know like this Phoenix with a lot of like I know like some other people also feel the same way, and it Phoenix with their sleep schedule. In the sense of some people don't even have sleep schedules. I can relate. But I think like because like the and like what you were saying, I think okay, actually I haven't heard of that perspective before. Like people wake up at or people run better at night because of an evolutionary thing. But I think that's super interesting. People still get tired during the day, and I mean, I guess that's why that that could be a factor of like a lot of hard work, stress, or just poor sleep in general. But I know there are some countries that do try to combat that, not by shifting the day or like the working period to the night, but by offering like a nap time. I think they call it siestas, and I forget what specific countries have it. Like I know Spain does, but I forget what other countries. And I remember reading a little bit about it in my Spanish class. They would take siestas, and people's productivity would increase during the second half of the day. But it's because they took that nap because they're already tired from waking up so early in the morning, getting their supposed 8 to 10 hours of sleep, sometimes 8 to 10 hours, maybe less. But yeah, rather than shifting the day or rather than shifting the work period to later, like waking up later, they still wake up early, relatively early. They just have like a break, quote unquote break period in the middle of the day to sort of counter that tiredness that they feel.
I think that's a very viable alternative if like a facility's like strictly they work during the day. Just have a nap time. I love that.
Yeah.
Do you not remember the first episode where you were vehemently against naps, Neha?
Oh,
Flashback.
wait, you caught me. Wait a second. Okay, me personally, okay, like remember when we were doing the Attack on Titan binge and then like we stayed up until like 3:30 a.m. My next day was not very good, okay, because I woke up at like 10 a.m. and then I stayed awake for like an hour, took a nap from like 11 to 12, and then like ate some food and then went straight to work. But I was like really lethargic the whole day. And I think that was partly because of staying up late and taking a nap. So for me personally, I'm a morning person. Like I can't deal with like the whole napping during the day to catch up on sleep situation. But yeah.
Okay.
Had to save myself there.
We take accountability here on the podcast. Yes.
Like, if you don't mind me asking,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, what time do you generally wake up on a normal day?
Like recently, something's been weird. I think the Attack on Titan thing messed me up. I don't know.
Oh.
But I've been waking up at like 9:30 or like 10 o'clock, which is not normal for me. Okay, like during the school year, like during weekends, I would wake up at like 7:30 or 8 during the weekends. So I definitely naturally, I think a morning. Yeah. Okay.
Here's back. No, that's good.
Also,
Yeah, you were saying.
yeah, I get sleepy really easily, which you guys know.
Actually, I don't think I've once seen you sleep like during a class at all throughout our.
Oh yeah,
high school
that's
year.
different. That's different.
Okay, guys. Okay. This feels targeted. Alright.
Thought you were
I
saying
feel
something.
like this is a topic which should I at least would much appreciate having an expert talk about, sleep and how circadian rhythms work, etc., etc. We do offer a limited perspective, not to mean that our perspectives aren't valuable, but yes, I do think I would appreciate having an expert on here. But
Yeah.
based on what you guys know, What type of perspective do you think you can add to this topic?
Um, like based on what experts have said, like what we've heard, like
No, not based on what experts said. I think if we just talk about what experts said and then say what experts said wrong, I think we'd kind of, lose the point. But just based on
yeah.
what you've experienced.
Do we have any night owls on here?
Yeah.
Oh, what you said. Oh yeah, you're basic. Okay.
Too
Are
many
the
night
rest of
owls, I
you
think.
say?
I don't even know if I'm a night owl or not, but I do stay up more often than not.
Okay.
So,
Mhm.
Actually, yeah, I agree with Vignesh. I don't even know if I'm a night owl or not. Now, I used to be, and back in the day, I say I used to be in like 8th grade. I had so much energy in 8th grade. But that was like COVID year, and then after like COVID really messed me up, my sleep schedule up, because I remember after 8th grade, we would go back into school and we'd have to shift back into a schedule, and like you know I don't know. I just like gradually felt like more lethargic as the years went by, or like as the days went by, because I just couldn't get back into a sleep schedule because of 8th grade.
Mhm. I think.
Wait, I don't know if that answers. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I think it can be tricky because I agree with what Vignesh said earlier of like you have to be confident that you're like either one or the other, I guess. Because what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Like
so
I don't
yeah,
know, like
your video is lagging. Do you mind going on your phone?
yeah, it might die in a bit, but
All right, until she comes back, guys, let's take a nap, like a power nap,
Oh,
siesta.
okay.
Yes.
Oh, darn it, she's back already. Oh my
Ah,
nap.
I sleep more in Middle Eastern than I slept there. Ah.
so okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think like um like a lot of people say like they would prefer like a more night-based schedule, but they also don't fully appreciate like what the day gives them because like I don't know, like if you completely shift to a night-based schedule, you won't like have as much social interaction as you normally do for some people, or like you won't be able to experience the sun, which is a big thing that like affects your hormones. So I would just say be like be confident in like whether this would be a positive decision for your life or not.
What do you think, Flora?
Okay. The thing I wanted to add, kind of going back to what Sneha said like way earlier, there's also kind of like the like because our society is kind of like so like morning slash like day based in that sense. It's now I'm gonna add a teenager's perspective here to put it in perspective. Teenagers. When we're teenagers and stuff, we require more sleep. That's just kind of like a scientific fact. Our sleep schedules, our circadian rhythms, they get messy, weird, whatever. But the point is, like, we kind of need more sleep if we want to function better. But then that kind of gets inhibited by the way society is set up because I remember seeing something about this that's like if schools, like high school specifically, because like teenagers and stuff, also middle school, I guess, if they started like later in the day and like ended later, like that would still work better for teenagers because at least that way we can sleep in like a little bit more, like basically just get extra sleep that we need, and then that way we function better. But then it isn't like that because the work world, like the work like jobs and stuff, because they're early morning based and stuff, and that wouldn't align with like parent schedules and stuff. That's why we have school so early. Like scientifically, from a health standpoint, it would be better for us to have school later in the day, but because the rest of society isn't aligned to that, we're kind of like forced to have it earlier in the day, and like that's just kind of the way the system is set up. But then that also like kind of comes into like the thing that's like how at different phases of life your like sleep schedule, either way you sleep or function or whatever, whether you're early bird or morning person or like a night owl and stuff, that also kind of like varies in a sense. So yeah, just a teenage perspective there.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I remember Mr. Eubanks and how he went on a tangent about this. Do you guys remember that? And how he was like,
No.
school should start later because it's better for teenage brains and they get to sleep a little bit more and
Yeah.
their mental health gets better, etc., etc. Yeah.
Mm, yeah,
So I do think there's a point there. I just think when it comes to that sort of point, it's just implementation and how hard is it going to be
yeah.
to implement and how hard is it going to be to change the norm.
Mhm.
Do you guys know what other countries generally tend to do? Because I'm curious about that. Like India, if they generally have students wake up early in the
India is
morning, or
generally Western when it comes to stuff like this. They run toward during the day as well, I would say.
I think so.
Yeah. I think I think the only exceptions really to this are the siesta countries, like you were talking about before, Shema. But other than that, not much comes to mind. But if one of you guys would want to like ask ChatGPT or something while we have this conversation of if there are any countries that are different when they run on daytime, etc., that would be much appreciated. Okay.
what up right now?
Hmm? Sure.
Okay.
Hold on.
Have you guys ever tried like a morning type schedule before? I know a nighttime schedule is a lot more common nowadays, but
Yeah.
I always
I mean,
skip.
I think
Yeah.
school kind of forces us into like the morning thing anyways, but then like
mm,
also I've tried to do stuff in the morning, and I guess like I'll talk personally, like personal experience here, in the sense of like how I wake up naturally and stuff. It's not like I have an issue waking up early in the morning naturally and like staying awake and stuff, but then I think in like the early
wait,
bird
give
versus
me a
night
second,
owl.
Swada. Sneha, when
Okay.
Swada's talking, we can hear an echo on your side. So if you can mute when Swada's talking, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, go on.
But yeah, so I think like in that debate, I think in terms of how well I function and how much my productivity is, that's in that sense I am a night owl because like I just do my best work when it's later in the day and stuff as opposed to in the morning. So I think that also like comes into it.
Okay. What I mean by morning schedule, I want to clarify, is that I don't think you can classify waking up early for school as a morning schedule, right?
Yeah,
I would classify as a, let's say you wake up at 5 a.m., right? You do some things, you go out for a run, or like you read some things, right? So you have something to do before you get ready in the morning. I think getting ready for the morning doesn't count as a schedule. It's just something you do just to go to school. Would you guys agree?
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh,
so
to
yeah.
you.
Anyone wants to say something?
Yeah.
She unmuted, so.
Oh, no, I would agree. For me personally, like I know I would get up like a lot before school started because I liked like having time to myself in the morning. So like other than getting ready stuff, so that's also part of the reason why I thought I would be more of a morning person. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Can I
I'm down
ask,
to like yeah. Go ahead.
do you like struggle to wake up in the morning sometimes, or like if you struggle to wake up in the morning, um, wait, yeah, let's
Yeah,
just start with that. Do you struggle? Yeah.
I definitely don't love waking up early. Like I would rather just sleep in. You know, I'm not crazy. But it
Because I know
depends
there's
on
some
when I've
people.
gone to sleep.
Hmm.
Yeah.
There's some people that like once they wake up, they like cannot go back to sleep at all. So
Yeah. I mean, I can. I like sleep in general. I'm a deep sleeper.
mhm.
As we all know, yes. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Does anyone have anything else to add? Or
ChatGPT does, I think.
oh yeah, did
What did
anyone ask
ChatGPT say?
ChatGPT?
Yeah. So Spain, Mediterranean countries, some Latin American countries, Finland, Nordic countries, and Australia.
Finland.
They run a little bit later, so like 8:30, I guess, and onwards. Whereas we run like, I know some schools, even in Arizona, they start like at 5:30 in the morning, which is insane. I don't know a specific school, but I heard that's that tends to be the case. Yeah, 8:30 to 9 a.m. is generally when some schools start in those regions.
8:30 to 9 a.m.
And
You said.
yeah, and so they're more of an evening centric. So yeah, so they say evening centric social life, and then the work culture. There's an emphasis on long working hours and presenteeism, being physically present in the workplace, regardless of actual productivity. So yeah, so I guess Japan is a country that comes to mind. So this is from Gemini. This isn't from ChatGPT, FYI. But
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay. Interesting. So there are countries that do a little bit different, but everyone's like generally the same. I think when it comes to working in the morning. So what I personally am interested in. You guys know Greenland, or is it either Greenland or Iceland, where at some points during the years for like a couple of months, the sun literally doesn't exist for them, or like it's literally nighttime all day round, and I wonder how they handle things. What are your guys' hypotheses or expectations of how they deal with things until as we wait for ChatGPT's answer?
Um, I think okay, this is like totally kind of like a random guess, but I feel like in that sense, it would like make the most sense to kind of just like go based off like time, like clocks themselves, rather than like days schedule, like when the sun's out and stuff. Because if you don't have that, then all you can really rely on is just like what the clock says.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm interested to see like how happiness levels are different in places
Yeah,
where the
I
sun
thought about that
Yeah.
too.
like because I've seen videos and it looks like it's really pretty. So does that like counteract and stuff?
This is giving me, uh, if I eat boba, it'll counteract the calories that it consumes. It is giving
That's
me
true.
that.
Shaima, are you looking it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, so it seems like the folks over there. So okay, this is what they have. Just as a quick summary briefing. There's extreme variation in daylight hours in Greenland. So that's one example, with periods of 24-hour daylight in the summer and very long periods of darkness in the winter. And well, they adapt, is what they say. So they essentially make their own schedules. So they maintain regular sleeping patterns, which, while is a challenge, they usually rely on like blackout curtains. And they establish their own routines to get rest. So that's like to counter the long light hours. Yeah, but they do have flexible schedules, so not the traditional 9 to 5 workday. But yeah, but they tend to. It seems like they tend to take advantage of constant light in the sense that they go outside a lot, and there's a lot of outdoor activities, especially in the summer, reasonably.
So
But yeah.
is it instead of a 9 to 5? What do they have?
It's flexible, I think. It doesn't necessarily give a specific time. Let's see, school schedules might be adjusted, but generally they maintain a structure to ensure consistent education. That's what they have.
Okay. Can you ask it like
That's
if there's specific times, like instead of a 9 to 5, what do they have? If it still says flexible, that's okay. But like there has to have like a general thing because schools and work generally needs to start at the same time. So yeah.
There's
Oh,
this place I found, Svalbard. in the Arctic Ocean where the sun doesn't shine for 6 consecutive months.
Can you live stream if you sent a photo or something?
I just sent the name of the place, so Shaima can look it up.
All right. Also, I don't know the implications of our podcast for using ChatGPT to ask questions. But it's okay.
We never said we're credible. We're not trying to add to the noise. We're just trying to have fun.
Yes. Yes. Maybe we need to designate a person who can ask these questions and make it look like we're not asking ChatGPT. So
Maybe,
I
yeah.
did some research, guys, while you were talking, and
Like
I
a
found
fact checker.
this. Yeah, like a
That would
fact
be-
checker.
Oh,
Wow,
they
imagine
use art-
going to put it into perspective for your source of news and
Oh my
facts
God.
for the day.
Yeah, then that's it. You're kind of done.
Okay, there's not really okay. Well,
I don't
specific
think
time.
anyone lives in the place where I mentioned, actually. Like, why would someone live in an island in the Arctic Ocean and go to school there?
One person, like that one Jew in Afghanistan.
Why does that Jew keep on coming up? He's the
I
most
know.
popular. He's our celebrity. Basis of celebrity is that one Jew in Afghanistan.
Okay. So while specific start times can vary between schools and age groups, it's likely that schools in Greenland generally start sometime between 8 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Okay.
Which aligns with European and Nordic countries.
Okay, so it's really not that different. But they say it's
Yeah.
flexible, so who knows? Actually, we
I
do
know
know. Kind of, yes.
But yeah, it is important to maintain a schedule like that, though. So they use
Yeah.
their own systems, blackout curtains, and artificial light to maintain their rhythms.
Cool. I like the eyebrow raise there. Yeah, their rhythms. Yes. Okay. Okay. All right, guys. I think we've really squeezed this topic dry. Unless you guys want to add anything more.
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I think like a recurring thing has been that like I think productivity is not about like when you show up to work or something, but it's about when you're able to most contribute. And I know that sounds like it's pretty like idealistic, so it's going to be hard to enforce for sure. But I think in places where it's possible, like if someone's like self-employed or if a company has flexible hours, then it's definitely much more possible. But yeah.
Okay. Swata, what about you?
I agree with what Sneha said. I guess just like it would be nice if like we could make more of an effort to like be more accommodating of like different hours and stuff.
Okay. All right. What about you, Shaima?
Yeah, I think it's really important to try and see if we can shift the day schedule. Just because of what we've seen scientifically is what I think we've been grasping at. But I also think that a lot of people, like for a lot of jobs, just one final thing that I remembered, a lot of jobs are remote nowadays, and I don't know if we're shifting away from that remoteness or towards that remoteness nowadays. But I still know that because it's like the remote jobs, we still have a lot of remote jobs that can be done like that have flexible working schedules. So for jobs like them, I'd like to see what sort of schedules they pertain to specifically and how their productivity differs from those who go at an office at a specific time. I know a lot of companies prefer their employees to go in the office and work from the traditional 9 to 5 over that remote flexibility.
Okay. I agree with you guys that it would idealistically, like if it was built for us, like the time, we'd perform better. But I think as humans, we're built to adapt. We're built to adapt to our situations, and I think we do it pretty well. So whatever the schedule is, if we can rise up to the occasion, I think we can make the most out of it. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
All right. Okay. I guess it's my turn now. Okay. So my hot take is, I think, okay, it's kind of ironic, but I think some of us can benefit from just waiting 10 seconds after someone speaks to talk, or like 15 or 20 seconds,
That's
something
a
like
lot.
that, you know? Yes. Any initial any initial thoughts, impressions?
Can I
I agree.
I wait 10
Yes.
seconds.
Yes.
10 seconds is a lot, I think. I think maybe like 5 seconds, or even less than 5 seconds. Like 3 seconds is enough.
See, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
No, let's not do
See, okay, see, look, it's okay. It's a difference between 10 seconds and then counting to 10. Okay, because I don't think when we count to 10 in our head, it's gonna be 1, 2, 3,
No.
4. It's gonna
No,
be
no, no,
1,
but the
2,
point
3, 4. Yes.
No, but the point is like I think it's like waiting too long is gonna be too tough. Like I get what you're saying. Just to process, gotta like have a certain time to process what the other person is saying, so that we don't like overshoot what we think that they said, sort of thing. I don't know if I said that right. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you suggesting that we should like normalize awkward silences a little bit?
Let's normalize silence, not awkward silence. Silence does not have to be awkward. Silence is sometimes necessary to process some things, and also tells the other person you're thinking about what you're saying.
Deep.
I think that I feel weird responding right afterwards. But, I think that's true, but also like me personally, if someone just stared at me for 10 seconds after I told them something, I was uncomfortable, which I know is the thing that you're like saying that we should change. But I like the idea of like asking follow-up questions, or like just like I don't know, like they're doing something else to like process whatever the person said instead of silence. But
I think what Vignesh is trying to get at here is that like maybe you don't like make it like a thing in like every single conversation you ever have to just like after you speak just wait 10 seconds like, but like it should be more normalized in general. Sometimes some people really should just like take some time to like not respond immediately and think, and then because I think like what the issue ends up being is that for some people they just like they're so focused on like firing back right after, like especially like in terms of like an argument or something, like they'll just say something they probably like they didn't want to say but like they ended up saying it anyways in like the heat of the moment and stuff, rather than like actually taking time to think about what they were going to say first. So then that's just like kind of what the issue becomes.
yeah.
Take a brief moment to process that, guys. I gotta say, I struggle with that a lot too. I don't know. I think Swata, you hit the nail on the head. When I speak to a lot of people, I think I also was speaking to Sneha about this a while ago. But I have the like habit. Like I feel an obligation to respond like quickly, because if I don't respond, then I feel like I'm intentionally trying to intimidate the other person, or I just didn't grasp what the other person said, or I don't know, like I feel like I'll create an air of misunderstanding or confusion if I don't respond quickly enough, because then it would seem like to the other person that I didn't process what they were saying, and but in reality I'm just continuing to process what they're saying. I'm just slow, guys.
You're just, no, you're not slow.
One of our teachers does this too. Dr. Winter, like he takes a brief moment,
Yeah.
and then like, but then like like he's trying to think about what to say. Like he's
Exactly. Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's intimidating nonetheless. But yeah, I think it'd be good to normalize that.
I think also this is, okay. Sorry, go ahead, Sneha.
No, go ahead. I don't know what I'm going
to say. From like a personal standpoint, I think sometimes it would be because like I'm the kind of person that like if I'm having a conversation, if like the other person's talking at some point while they're talking, I'll just start thinking instead about how I'm going to respond, what I'm going to say back and stuff, because like I like to plan exactly what I'm going to say ahead of time. But then if I like take that moment to like pause and stuff, at least I get a chance to like actually process what they said. Like in that sense, it can also be helpful.
You think like they do in like a news reporter situation? You know how there's like when they display the news and two news reporters are talking to each other, there's always that brief pause before a response.
Yeah.
Is that just like a delay, or is that like them actually like you know?
It's just a delay.
Okay. I've always wondered.
Let's ask ChatGPT.
Yeah. Anyways.
No,
think it
but
also
that
gets-
pause is actually
Go ahead.
awkward. Oh, sorry. No, I just going to say that. Yeah.
What I was going to say, I think it also gets at the point of there's a difference between talking and having a conversation. And having a conversation, there's an emphasis on listening rather than the talking. I'm sure you guys have been in situations where someone is just, keeps doing this, right? Keeps on talking and talking, right? Doesn't really give you an opportunity to interject. Okay, you might have a person in mind or multiple people in mind, but yeah, they just keep talking, and you're like, why are you talking more than the question I asked, and why are your question longer than the answer I gave you? And you're just sitting there like, wow, this guy is just really full of himself, isn't he? But see, you may not be full of yourself, but that's also the impression it gives. It also gives the impression of you're being disrespectful to the other person because you're saying that your voice is more valuable than their voice. There's a lot of implications in the conversation. And in my experience, I think you can never go wrong with just trying to listen more than you talk. Or even if it's like 90% listening, 10% talking, I think that's much better than 90% talking and 10% listening. So, yes.
I agree.
That's fair.
There's saying in Alexander Hamilton.
I thought you were saying the other
Hamilton.
Alexander. And I was like, no, don't say him here.
There's a saying in Hamilton, you should talk less, listen more. I think you're grasping at something there.
Oh, is that a quote?
Yeah.
Nice.
From I think it was Aaron Burr. Talk less, smile more.
Oh,
Are you suggesting
smile.
we smile more?
Yes. Did you notice?
Yes, yes. You're making an active contribution in that. Yes.
I like how we're all taking 10 seconds to respond now. We're putting it in practice, guys.
Yes, not putting it in perspective, you're putting it into practice. I think that should be our new podcast name, yes.
You're right.
That's
Yeah, I don't know, I don't really
that's
have-
what our second segment should be called. First segment is putting it into perspective. Our second segment is putting it into
Yes!
practice.
Yes.
Okay.
We're doing it right now, though.
Yes.
Wait, I actually love that. Yes.
Any thoughts, Wada?
We're back to me. Okay. I don't know. Yeah, I like the idea because, yeah.
Fair enough.
I know.
Great prize.
Do you guys know those people where, like, when they're around people that talk a lot, they just don't talk, but when you're just with them, you just see them talk a lot more. Like, they just kind of realize that their voice is not going to be heard when they're around people that talk a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this happens in like older couples, like older marriages, where like the husband he's just given up. He's like, you know what, I'm not gonna get my piece in, so I'm just not gonna talk. But then once you get some like alone time with them, they tell you like the wildest stories. They tell you like good advice and stuff like that. Have you guys experienced that?
I feel like that's me, girl.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Is he talking about me?
Husband, you?
Yes, I am an old husband. I love sharing wild stories on a Saturday afternoon with my buddies while we drink beer.
Yes.
I know some people don't like to talk a lot. They like to listen more than they like to talk. But I guess I wouldn't be able to see. I don't know if I have seen, in fact, the like the opposite, where like they don't talk a lot in public, but in private they talk a lot. I don't know.
Let's take 10 seconds to process that, guys. Okay. Yes. Oh, yes. No, I think this is just to say that it's nice to have a balance in the conversation. I think that's ideal, and actually, I think it's better to have a more leaning towards listening than talking during a conversation. I think that's when a conversation has reached its best. That's the best thing you can do in a conversation. I was in my old fiddling group. There was this concept that the director taught us about, and it was about one nth. So let's say, and the nth was a variable, right? So depending on how many people there are, you'll only take up 1/10 of the space. You only take 1/10 of the conversation, 1/10 of the breath, right? You don't want to go anywhere more than that. You want to give other people the space to talk, and I think that's very applicable in like most, if not all, areas. What do you guys think?
Interesting.
You were actually getting at something earlier. Something about like you should take more time to like. I think this is what you're trying to say. You should take more time to process and listen, because if you only input, then there's nothing to output, sort of thing.
Yeah,
Like because you don't have the time to actually think about what's being said.
that's part of what I've been saying. Yes, yes.
Yes. But yeah, that's what I would. That's my 2 cents on that.
What do you guys think of the 1/nth like topic though, or type approach?
Yeah, no, I really like that as a concept. Like, I think like keeping that in mind when you're with a big group, if only everyone knew that, you know, and they were like self-conscious about that thing.
Mhm.
But like I don't know, like do you think your fiddling group had that sort of like collective awareness, and then like
Oh yeah,
all of you guys?
they were great. What we would do in the fiddling group is that we would like arrange songs in like different ways and like out of the box ways, and it involved a lot of group thinking, and I feel like everyone had an equal voice and an equal part to play in arranging that piece. Yes, and I'm not talking about like 4 people groups. I'm talking about like 10 people groups where we just split up two and two and we were arranging pieces. Everyone still had an equal voice then, and still has something to provide. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice.
But you're
How do you?
1/10.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
1/10.
1/n.
You're
1/n. So let's say it's 4
you're
of
one.
us, right? So it'll be 1/4. Try to take up 1/4 of the space, 1/4 of the breath, 1/4 of the conversation. Yes.
Good perspective. I have nothing else. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else.
I think you guys exemplify another point I have to add to this is that let's say you're in silence, right? You Other people will tell you and go out of their way to tell you that they have nothing else to add, and then you can say what you're going to say. Because sometimes when you're talking and then there's a silence, they have more to say. But people will go out of the way when they detect a silence and you're waiting to speak. It's like, yeah, I have nothing else to add, nothing else to say.
Wait, sorry, what? Wait, I don't think I understood.
Okay.
Are you saying this is their cue to talk more?
No, I'm saying that we all have a natural cue. So let's say you're waiting like a couple seconds, right? Another person hasn't said anything. You went out of your way to say, I have nothing else to say. So you're naturally giving the cue. If you had something else to say, you would have said it in that silence. So I think it can still be naturally implemented into conversations. The silence.
Okay. I see.
You guys agree? Disagree?
Yeah. I don't hear that like. Well, I don't hear it a lot. Maybe that's like as an additional, like as a correlation to the rapid fire of answering thing. But I don't hear the I don't have anything else to add sort of comment a lot in conversation. But generally, I think conversations end up by then, so I don't know. Do you hear it a lot?
I think you would hear it more when silence is more common in conversations. Because I think because silence is a common in conversations, people don't go out of the way to say I have nothing else to add. They just stop talking. They just let the other person talk. So
Yeah.
if the silence became common, I think naturally the I have nothing else to add will become more common as well.
Mhm. I think it's good to verbalize that specifically. You were saying it's natural. Um, yeah, I think that would also help like make conversations a lot more like easy to track or easy to follow sort of thing. In that sense, because we're actually conversing rather than trying to pick up the cues
Mhm.
ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never said I have nothing else to add in like a real conversation, though.
Mhm.
I think it's like in the context of this podcast, you know,
Yeah,
because
that's
we're like
fair.
piggybacking off of each other and stuff.
Uh
Like if I were just conversing with someone else, like I have nothing else to say to you.
huh.
That
We're
would be
done. This friendship is over. I've nothing else to say. I meant that like ever, ever to you. Okay, that was my last word. That's a good point. The way I came across this hot take was there's a channel I watch, Abba and Preach, and they were watching a video where there's the girl was like, okay, I don't necessarily agree with the girl's perspective, but the girl was like, men don't really get the space to talk. So before I say anything, I count to 20 in my head, which is kind of insane to me. She counts to 20 in her head, and like before she says anything, and then she had the same points of like, I think, as I said, 10, you guys thought 10 was long. Wait till you see the girl's 20. But yeah, okay. So she was doing that, right? And she said that naturally the guy would say, I have nothing else to add, I have nothing else to say. So I think it's just because silence isn't common in conversations. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's just my perspective at least. Like, would you guys say silence is common in your conversations?
no, yeah, definitely not.
No. Yeah. So I think this is
Sometimes.
more of like once more silence is common, that other thing is more common. Because there's no need to say I have nothing else to say if it's while someone else is talking. So yes.
Mhm.
Do you
Yeah.
think there's a contributor in the way that our educational system is structured? Because the way, like, I mean this in the sense of, like, we go to school, we sit down in class, we have to take notes. Say it's a history class, Dr. Winter, or Mr. Ellis, um, they're like zooming through notes, but that's because they have to. They have a lot of things to cover. And it's not just history, but it's like math too. It's fast paced, so you have to balance between listening and writing. Of course, that means there's no room to speak unless you have a question. So then you raise your hand. But that also entails that you have to be able to process what's happening in the moment while writing and listening. And so it's a really fast paced environment, and it's almost like an immediate sort of response is required. Do you think that it contributes anyway to how we also converse in real life?
That's a good question.
Interesting perspective. I like that.
It's something I like to think about, not something
Yeah.
necessarily I like to discuss. If that makes sense.
I don't know. The first thing that comes to mind for me is like I think humans like naturally process things as they're being said. And I don't know, a reason why we respond automatically is like I don't know, I think it's been perceived as like an indication of intelligence or something. I don't know. But also like there's this point of like if someone takes a second to like pause and think about what they're gonna say and then like they drop a bomb like your brother did yesterday. He was thinking, and then he dropped the most. intelligent sentence said to humankind. No, but
It is literally in history. It's gonna be in the history book. Yeah. So sad you
I don't
couldn't
know.
join us today, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
School.
Okay. I don't know, but I think, what was I saying? I don't even know if this is completely true, but I think it has something to do with, like, if we respond faster, then we're smarter or something.
There is a component of that. I do agree. I also think there's a component of there's a awkwardness of people who aren't used to silence, just hearing silence. They don't want that silence to happen. I personally think like especially like if you're sitting in the car, right? I felt this before where like I feel like this need to speak, right? The need to engage in conversation. But I think silence is just as much as important as talking. Like being comfortable in silence, I think indicates just you being comfortable with the person as well, as much as like you being comfortable with talking and engaging with the person. Or what do you guys think?
I honestly I agree because that made me think about like I've experienced like things where it's like I'm having a conversation with a person and then like they'll say something and then I'll either like agree in like a very like short response like with like one or two words or like I just won't say anything at all. And, like in those situations it kind of feels like you don't even have to say words. Like it feels like what you're feeling is implied. So it's like if you don't say anything, you don't speak, but then they like point out it's like, oh, why didn't you like respond? Why didn't you say anything? Just like sometimes the silence speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think it's true.
That was good build up. That's a very confident sense. Good build. That's a good build up. Anyways,
We're in the climax of our hot topic, guys.
Also, I feel like something I've noticed, like while we've had this conversation, is that like at points I'll just be like listening to what you guys are saying and stuff, and then I'm processing it as you guys are saying it and stuff. But then in that sense, I'm not even thinking about how I'm responding because I don't want to respond. It kind of like at some point it just turns into like you're like a spectator. You just want to listen to what people have to say, but you don't want to like I don't want to respond. I don't want to say anything. I don't have anything to say. I just don't want to do it either. I just want to listen, process, and just not add anything. And like it kind in that sense, you also like just turn into like a spectator, I guess. You're just like taking in the conversation and just leave it at that. I feel like that should also kind of become normalized.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah.
I think nowadays I don't know if it's a culture thing, but I've noticed like people are constantly giving their own opinions. That's important to be able to consider your own opinion, but we also struggle, and this isn't even in like the basic social like civil level. Like this spans a national level, like to our presidents. Like we don't sit and we don't think about the other argument. We just find quick holes, and then we try to immediately respond to those quick holes and their argument for the sake of, well, if it's like a national level argument, like for like I'm thinking about the elections, presidents were just trying to defame one another to get supporters for their specific side, but like not even at that national level, but also like at that civil some kind of civil level to an extent. Like there's the idea that you have to, like there's a lack of open-mindedness, I think, when we engage in conversation, especially those conversations that are being publicized. Like people are quick to, like I've noticed people are quick to just tackle one another instead of consider it and stick or like see the other side, or wait, what's the term? Be in the shoes of the other opponent. And when you're not in that position and you don't see the other side, you make flaws in your own argument that you don't want to address. And yeah, but I think like sticking around, like having a moment of silence, which is something I think is a tactic that could be used in arguments and conversations, could be a way to sort of even counter that sort of closed-mindedness in politics, and not even politics, just like social engagement and conversation.
I think it also brings out another point of this is kind of different, but it gets at the same core theme of when you're engaging in arguments, it's much more helpful to come at it of a perspective of I want to be convinced rather than I want to convince the other person because it lets yourself gain the perspective of the other person and doesn't let you be closed-minded, right? And doesn't only focus you on talking and try to get the other point of the person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a lot more to say about this, but I think this is something that'll only get better as we revisit this topic, later in episodes. So yes, just let it brew in your mind, guys. And
Mhm.
yeah, do you guys want to share your final thoughts?
Yes. Okay. So I think we kind of like deviated a little bit from like the first thing that was mentioned, but it applies in a lot of situations, I think. So
Mhm.
I in general, I think I definitely like the thinking behind your initial like hot take of I think it's definitely valuable to like sit with what someone's saying for a while and think about your response and like listen more actively in general as a population. And I think like Shaima brought up this huge thing of like politics, and it's a huge issue right now. And I think I definitely have a lot of respect for people who are like pragmatic when it comes to politics and don't like have the thing that Vignesh said of like self-confirming bias. So
Can anyone not hear Sneha?
Yeah, you're lagging. Try leaving and rejoining.
We can't hear you.
Oh my god, guys. I think she's focused so much on listening that her talking has become listening. Ah.
Oh man.
Guys, compared to these like conversations that we've been having, like I don't know, my hot take is like it feels so like underwhelming.
It's okay. The audience doesn't know yet. Okay, let's leave it. Let's let it be in a cliffhanger. Yes.
how much did you guys hear? Because I know what happened. My audio connected to my car, which my mom was driving for a second.
Oh,
Yeah.
your mom joined the podcast.
I think she heard you guys for a hot second. But
She thinks that ghosts are possessing her car. Huh.
yeah. Wait, so how much did you guys hear? Where did I leave off?
You were like halfway through your final thoughts, so like we heard like the first bit.
Okay. Do you remember the last word I said?
No.
Okay.
We could see you saying
Okay.
it, but you couldn't hear it. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Politics. That's all I remember.
Politics. Okay, yes. So, what is it? Okay, yeah, I think it's definitely important to talk about. I have respect for people who are more practical when it comes to political conversations and like not like Vignesh said, like not only using evidence to confirm their own stance. So I think it's really important that we bring this issue to the forefront of our attention because even in this conversation alone, I noticed like how we were taking more pauses, I think, to respond. And I think it's because we were thinking about it more, thinking about like the actual concept of thinking about responses more. So yeah.
Cool. What do you think, Swara?
I'm all for it. Whether if you just take a moment for whatever reason, if it's to process, if it's to think about what you're going to say, if it's to listen, if it's to cool off, whatever it is, I think it's a great thing. I'm all for it. Just in general, I think people should be more comfortable with just taking a minute to like think and not speak.
Yeah. I think I think a lot of people maybe like nowadays, and I haven't spoken to so many people that I can actually speak for this, but maybe like I'd like to myself go out and see if I can sort of implement this like pause myself. It's just sort of having the idea that we can stop to understand, I think, is a sort of like not skill, but like essence that we should have in just everyday conversation, so that we don't glaze over different topics too much, or we don't and we truly start understanding a little bit more about our conversations that we have.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you guys said. I think conversations, like when you look at conversations as a whole, conversations are a medium in order for you to express your point and in order for you to interpret and understand the other person's point. And I think the second gets lost more often than not when you engage in conversation. So as we start to emphasize more on the second half, so we can create a more balance in conversation, that it can do society a lot of good, a lot of education, a lot of introspection, a lot of perspective, of course, but moreover, I think it can bring harmony towards our day-to-day interactions. I think that's also important. Yeah. All right. Awesome, guys. That was great. Okay. Now to the heavily anticipated hot take of the guest. Give me a second, guys. I need to get my phone. Uh, okay. Okay. I'm back. All right. Okay. Want to share with us your hot take?
Yeah. Okay, I think my hot take is that the 90s anime art style is not the best art style in this. Yeah, it's not a great art style because it's not representative of humans whatsoever. And they just like the art looks like it's alienating from a human, which I guess is the sort of idea of I'm gonna share my screen of anime itself, but also it's a little, I don't know, I think it's a little jarring just how absurdly dramatic it is, because like, okay, and I say this like specifically with like the hair and the eyes and the way like everything is squished together in the middle of the face, whereas in like a general art form or like in a modern art form, everything's a lot more fuller and not so tight, I think. But yeah, I don't know. It's like it's a personal preference. I don't like the 90s art style, but I know there's a lot of people that do like it. So yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna be doing research during this conversation because I don't know anything about anime art.
But yeah, like Vignesh was saying the other day that Attack on Titan's art style is actually a lot better. Or I mean a lot worse. Or who was it? I think it was Anika.
I said
actually.
it was mid, so not the two things you said.
I was getting there. It was on both ends of the spectrum. But anyways, I think like Attack on Titan's art style is actually amazing, especially by the end. I don't know. Like I think like the art style they focus on is a lot more serious and like it's more meaningful because it shows you just exactly what the characters are feeling. But when you generally look at like art, like cartoon art, expressions are dramatized into what they aren't, like into what the characters are actually feeling, just a little bit over the top. I guess like Attack on Titan does do that in a sense, but also you can see that like there's intention behind it. Whereas if you like look at a typical anime, I can't speak for the 90s anime on this, but generally just any anime, like you'll have expressions where the character will eat food and their face will entirely just melt. I know it's an exaggeration and I know it's like a hyperbole, but they'll do this like they'll have the same essence of exaggeration with any sort of shock or surprise that the character encounters, and it's just I don't know, I don't appreciate it. I just don't like how over the top it is. But yeah, I guess my argument extends beyond the 90s anime, but on Titan gets the essence of what the characters are actually feeling. Maybe particularly in a sense because that's just how serious the anime is. I can go on forever about this.
Okay. All right. I think you liking Attack on Titan tells us most about your taste than anything else. Like apparently you just like CGI. Like that's what season 4 is. It's just CGI when the people and then the persons are talking. It's like I'm watching a robot that's like an alien that's just moving. But I'm not gonna spoil it because Neha hasn't watched season 4 yet. Okay, and we're gonna move on to the topic of Attack on Titan. Okay, but okay. I put some images in the chat. If one of you can stream that so the audience can see, I want to illustrate my point. Okay.
Yeah. Do. Hold on.
Can I give the viewers an Among Us jump scare warning?
No, you cannot.
Okay, wait. Do. Hold on.
Melik hopped in the server just to say that. That's insane. Okay. All right.
What?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Scroll up. Scroll up. Now I want you to scroll up. Don't spoil it. Okay. This is 90s anime. That first picture is 90s anime. Okay.
Okay, that's
Okay.
like
That
okay,
is
yes,
amazing. That gives so much mood, so much texture, so much realism. You can relate to the person over there. It's just straight up beauty. It's a masterpiece.
I think that's an outlier. Like look.
Okay, I put a few
General
outliers
anime-
in there as well. Scroll down. Let's go. Scroll up. Scroll up. Well, what's that?
Up.
The second picture. Do you think that better than the first picture?
That is not 90s anime. That is 2000s anime.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is
Why-
that better than the first one? Okay, that's so much worse than the first one. You're telling me that's better than the last one,
Okay,
huh?
but this is not representative of 90s anime in its
Yes, it is.
entirety. I
It's
think
Cowboy
think of
Bebop.
90s
It's the
anime,
cornerstone
this.
of 90s anime. Look at the third one. Look at the third one right now. Do you think that's better than the first picture?
Okay, this is actually not that great. But that's what I'm saying. They're dramatized. Like anime nowadays, it's like it's also not that like realistic of what characters actually feel. It just looks ridiculous. But this is like also ridiculous. Like this last picture that I sent. Like that's what people think of when they think of 90s anime, not that first one. This first one is a good one.
That
but-
is the picture people think about in 90s anime. Am I right, Swada? Swada, am I right? Cowboy
I don't
Bebop?
know. I look. I watch anime, but I'm not like as well versed as you guys are in this dimension. So
Honestly, you might ask Mela to join just so she can give us her perspective.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, can
Ask her.
we?
Yeah, ask her.
Okay.
Okay? No. For perspective, guys, this is also modern anime. Okay? This is also modern
That's
anime.
good.
Okay?
I think that's good but that's only for the specific anime because it encapsulates what the character is feeling, and it's dramatized, yes, but it's dramatized.
I thought you said you
for
didn't
a-
like dramatized.
But it has to be for a specific purpose. Like for this middle one, this like stupid, I don't know, with this girl with Among Us behind her, like she's supposed to be feeling scared, I presume, but she's not. It doesn't look like she's scared. It's okay. There's like two spectrums of dramatized: over dramatized and under dramatized, and they're both dramatic. This is just under dramatic. It's so dramatic, it's under dramatic.
Pull it up. Yeah, these last two were modern ones. Pull it up. Go up. Go
Yeah.
forward. Scroll up. Scroll up.
Up.
Scroll up. That first one, that is just perfect. That is perfect
Okay,
amount
that
of
was
emotion, perfect amount of interpretation. Okay?
That is not what I refer to when I talk about 90s anime.
Look at
I
this.
talk about, like-
Look at this. This is what you're referring to when you talk about 2000s anime. Okay?
No!
oh my god.
Okay?
Okay.
All right, you think that's a good representation, huh?
No. Okay, I have to say, this is why I say Attack on Titan and BSD. They do it well. Okay, sometimes they do it well, sometimes they don't. But like JJK without that one tooth, I mean JJK sometimes does it really weird. And like I'm not an art person whatsoever, so like I guess my
What do you
opinion
think about that one? The last one, huh?
That's false. That is not in the anime. It's irrelevant. Anyways, no, I like thinking JJK. They could have done better. Well, like I say, that's why an
Slow down.
AOT doesn't go well because this is not it. AOT does it super well. I noticed like specifically the eyes they like sink in. Okay, now like I need your help.
Okay.
What do you think about 90s anime art style?
She's saying 90s anime art style is worse than 2000s. Okay, and I'm showing her
I
examples of
disagree.
2000s anime.
Wait. They're both on different ends of the spectrum, but like 90s anime is one thing, and 2000s anime, or like the 21st century anime is another thing. Okay, but yes, when I speak about 90s anime, okay, Malik, when I think about 90s anime, I think about like, wait, hold on, where is it? I think about like this picture.
Look at the first picture I sent, okay? I think that, would you agree that's the cornerstone of 90s anime, Malik? The Cowboy Bebop one I sent?
No!
But Malik, would you
think
agree?
that's
The Cowboy
90s
Bebop?
Anime.
That is
I don't
the
think
cornerstone of 90s
Guys,
anime.
let her speak.
The anime itself, sure, but the picture that you sent is not a good example of the art style that encapsulates 90s anime.
Okay.
Sailor
Wait,
Moon
who-
is a better example, I feel.
Thank you! Yes!
Sailor Moon's art style is not
What's
bad,
that?
though.
Stop sending cursed pictures, please. This is horrifying.
You guys like this? Is this what you like? Huh?
No, please.
When I think about this, I think of a goat. I don't know.
It does look like a goat. Anyways, quick question. What was the third picture you sent? Because that's Project Sekai. That's not. Hey! That's literally 2020.
Person. Okay, but honestly, that picture also represents what anime generally looks like nowadays, even in like a horror setting.
You chose the worst Project Sekai card out of all of the ones you could have chosen that look really nice, really pretty, very well drawn. You chose this one.
Okay.
Anyway, speaking of good, you scroll down. You're saying this isn't beautiful
Yeah.
right here?
Yes, that's 90s anime.
No, that's terrible. I don't
What?
like it.
What do you guys
Why?
think? Does that look terrible?
I think it looks nice.
It is what it is. I don't have a strong opinion.
It looks nice.
Guys, wait.
No, don't spoil it. No, don't spoil it. Go back. Go back.
I won't.
Go back. We're not doing AOT. Okay? I did
I
not
don't
do
think
that
we
bit
break-
with Sneha just for you to spoil it on the podcast. Okay? Alright? I don't want those hours to go to waste.
I'm trying to think of a different one.
Do you guys still need my expertise?
Yes. Yes, we do.
Yeah. Oh, what do you think?
This art.
Oh. Okay, wait.
See, if you were
The
trying
one
to give
thing-
me your opinion on CGI, then I would understand it. But like, 90s anime art style is just really cute. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think it's like they're like, okay, cute is only cute when they're not actually trying to be cute, but it's not cute when they're actively trying to be cute.
it's
Because
a
when you're
magical girl anime. What do you expect from them?
not that, it's like saying that what is the one thing we need to do to make it cute? Oh, big eyes and small nose and tiny mouth. Like, I don't even see a mouth. Like,
This-
honestly, I could like lump this together as one nose, you know? Like, okay.
Is that not big eyes? The last one? Is it not big eyes? That's pretty big eyes to
Big
me.
eyes, but that's
Okay?
not represented.
Those are massive
in-
eyes. Okay, maybe
Please
there's not
show.
a tiny mouth, but that's massive eyes.
Oh my
Okay,
god.
wait. I'm gonna stop sharing, and then I'll share like a picture of OT. That's not spoiling
What are
a
you show a picture
series.
of?
Let's see. If there's okay, and I don't think this comes off like really well in the anime. I read the manga. I didn't read the I didn't watch the anime. So there's that. Okay, here's a good one. Like that. Like that's the sort of art style. Like you can tell that there, like things are like crap is going down. Like the world is gonna end, sort of. Like it's over for them, and they're like fighting that. Like that's the sort of thing we want to see. Okay. BSD does it weird. BSD is like BSD is a different spectrum. BSD does it comically, so that's. I think I can appreciate that aspect of it. I think I like contradicted myself from earlier, but anyways. Now you're just trying to push buttons. I wouldn't even respond. No. I'm trying to think of a different one.
What do you mean? Wait, these are all the ones that you're sending are 2000s.
The ones with big eyes, vibrant colors. That's 2000s.
Yeah, that's 90s anime. Yeah. So this one right here, Sneha's 90s. Okay. Scroll up. And the first one I sent was 90s as well. So yes.
Okay, but that 90s, that first one, that's not representative of 90s anime. Because when
that
you
was
think
made
of
in
90s,
the 90s.
Yes, but it's not representative of 90s anime. When people think of 90s anime, they think of bright, vibrant colors, big eyes, small lips and nose, and hair that's also in this picture, but hair that's basically the size of their head.
Malik, how about you send us some 90s anime pictures, and then we do a comparison, okay? With pictures that Shaima finds, and then we'll see which one is better.
I'm so unprepared for this. I was just busy drawing.
Okay.
90s anime picture.
Yeah, this is what. Okay, sometimes.
Is that
it's
not
nice.
beautiful?
Like,
Click the second one. Click the second one. Click the second one.
second one is fine.
Oh, Dragon Ball Z. I forgot that's
Look
a
at that.
90s anime.
Look at this. Is this not beautiful, guys?
Dragon Ball Z.
Okay, this is the one that you found.
Yeah, Cowboy Bebop.
But like.
Ghost in the Shell. I forgot about that.
Goku is pretty reminiscent of the
Goku Dragon Ball
style.
art style was amazing.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z has a really good art style. Do you hate Dragon Ball Z?
Yes, I do. I think it's ridiculous. Ball Z art style. I hate that. I hate how they look.
It's
I hate
beautiful.
everything about it.
Is this not cool,
disgusting.
guys? Is this not cool?
No. No.
I want to hear people who are not me or Shaima or Malik. Okay, talk about how cool this is. Okay.
No strong
this cool
feelings.
Oh. Yeah, I think they're all just entertaining. I'm not like bothered by it.
Yeah.
Why do you have beef with the art style? I could get beef with a person. You have beef with the art style. It's just something different.
I don't like the art style. That's it. I don't beef with it. I say I hate it, but that's because
you're having beef with it. Okay, this is very beef worthy. Okay, it feels very personal.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's something that 90s anime did to Shaima as a child.
It just looks ridiculous. It doesn't represent who they
show
truly
us two
feel.
more pictures, a 90s anime that you think bad, and then we'll make our final thoughts. Okay.
Oh.
Is that not beautiful, guys? Is that not beautiful?
Yeah. I like the vibrance.
I think this is what's missing nowadays.
Evangelion.
Okay, this is the second row.
Kuroko no Basket, Ghost in the Shell, all of these had amazing art styles. This was back when people did frame by frame and it wasn't CGI.
Oh, Detective Conan, yeah.
Yeah. All these art styles look just fantastic. Pokemon.
This one is weird.
We forgot about Pokemon, guys. You guys remember Pokemon?
Okay, this one is nice. No.
Evangelion is also all like that. Yeah, and Gundam too. Come on.
Did we forget about Naruto, guys? Naruto's art style was amazing.
Okay, but that's still not representative of what people think of 90s anime.
Okay,
Or at least,
well, you
okay.
would think people think in 90s anime, just the 90s anime that you think look bad. Like, all
But
of this
look!
is 90s anime.
Hello! 2 out of them, okay, and then there's this Reddit post, but whatever. Okay, this one is fine because it like actually shows what they feel. But like this top one and this like fourth
Okay, click
one.
on that. Click on that. Click on the fourth one.
This one.
So you don't think
Not
that
the side
properly
view.
conveys emotion, guys? Those 3 photos?
Okay. Compare this with this. Everyone thought Sailor Moon was fine. And like even nowadays, like okay, maybe you know what?
Okay, so when you look at the second photo, can you tell us she's happy?
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what's the thing here, Shaima? If you look at the first photo, can you tell us he's happy?
The first photo? Wait, where?
No, no, no. I mean this first photo of the fourth one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Guess.
You can't tell that he's happy?
Yeah, he looks like a nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, yippee! Okay, that's the first photo. Third photo, she's sad. So what's your point, Shaima, about emotions?
It's still the vibrancy, the full like half my head is hair, or if I have a full head of hair, like literally a head
What's
of hair.
wrong with having a full head of hair? What? You just want them to be bald? Is that what's happening here? I don't get it.
No, they have they have their head, and then on top of their head they have another head, and that head
No.
is
They
just
have 2
hair.
heads. Where do you see 2 heads here?
They just
I see it like here. Okay, like this is like just weird. Like I don't like this. You know, what is that?
Swada.
Okay, maybe I'm just.
What happened to Swada?
She just left call.
Oh, she's back.
Oh, speak of the
Hi.
devil. Hi.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe actually I'm trashing on it too much. Because now that I
The
think about it,
second
this
one, I
vibrancy.
get what you mean. The second one looks like something I can make with my free time. But look, everything else that we showed on here, okay, it was just majestic. Look at the first one, guys. Is that not cool? Does that not give you bad
This
ass?
one is disgusting. This one is disgusting. I don't know. I just don't like the vibrancy. But I think that vibrancy is meant for kids, so I can't actually speak about that too much.
Right, because you're not
Because
a kid.
kids-
Right, for sure. Yes.
Yeah.
None of us are kids. Yeah.
I no longer see that vibrancy. Oh, but this is for kids, so I guess as a kid you would like this, but as an
All anime is
Like
kind of for
nowadays-
kids. So, yeah.
disagree. Disagree.
I
It's for kids.
I disagree with your disagree.
Whatever. AOT
Okay,
is for kids.
I disagree with my disagree because there's definitely some anime that's not meant for kids, but most anime can
Yes.
be watched by kids. Okay, so yes,
Okay. Okay.
yes, right. Okay, we brought up this topic where only like me and Shaima can engage in debate and discussion. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry about you guys. So
You're-
yeah, okay. Any final thoughts, guys, before we wrap this up? Because I think this is something that we just we'll just do in the movie server. Let's be honest. Okay, so
Yeah.
Any final thoughts, guys?
It is what it is.
Yourself to that question.
Yeah, final thoughts, Shaima?
Yeah. 90s anime can be good, but
But I hate
generally
it.
the
I hate it.
anyways, yeah, sorry guys. I didn't think about the
No, it's fine.
vastness of this.
You're good.
We had 2 guests today.
Yeah,
Thanks
a
for-
surprise guest. Yes. Introduce yourself. I'm kidding. Okay. All right.
Wait.
Yes. Thank you for joining us on the podcast, guys, and thank you to our lovely guest. Okay, for joining us today to bring her hot take. Even though 2 of us are only 2 of us and a surprise third one was able to provide perspective on this. But yes, catch us next time, guys, and we'll see you later. And thank you for letting us put
It.
in perspective.
In perspective.
Bye.
We're never getting it. Bye.